Red Bull's future has been hanging by a thread, but the shareholders themselves have now stepped into the spotlight, taking control of the driver lineup like never before. And at the heart of this storm is Max Verstappen, who has finally silenced months of deafening speculation by confirming he will remain with Red Bull Racing for the 2026 Formula One season. Just weeks ago in Hungary, Verstappen ended the frenzy of rumours that had him walking straight into Mercedes's arms, shutting down the wildfire talk that threatened to destabilize the entire paddock. But let's be honest, he had fanned those flames brilliantly. For weeks, Verstappen dodged every question, leaving fans and journalists dangling on the edge of uncertainty, wondering if the four-time champion was preparing for a seismic move. Now that this high-stakes drama has reached its climax, the attention swings viciously to his struggling teammate, Yuki Tsunoda, who is facing the fight of his life. With only 7 points to his name since stepping into the Red Bull seat at round 3, Tsunoda is spiraling toward an unwanted record, the weakest contribution by any Red Bull teammate since Verstappen's arrival in 2016. His story is even more brutal when you consider that he replaced Liam Lawson, the young gun who himself lasted just 2 races after being drafted in to replace Sergio Perez. Tsunoda's situation now looks desperate, as the once bright promise of his Red Bull promotion risks collapsing under the weight of expectation and failure. Since stepping back into the cockpit with Racing Bulls, Liam Lawson has reignited his season in style. Sitting on 20 points, he's now breathing down the neck of the highly rated Isaac Hadjar, trailing by just 2 points. But with 10 race weekends left, the focus is already shifting. The spotlight is swinging back toward Red Bull's most volatile question mark: who will partner Max Verstappen in 2026? And right now, the writing on the wall suggests Yuki Tsunoda's story is about to meet a brutal end after 5 seasons under the Red Bull umbrella. The whispers have already begun. This season, German outlet Bild dropped a bombshell. Christian Horner himself had floated the idea of bringing Alex Albon back into the Red Bull fold to stand beside Verstappen. At the time, the suggestion felt like pure speculation, but the plot has thickened. Red Bull's majority shareholder, Chalem Yovidya, who now controls 49% of the team and just happens to be Thai, would almost certainly back a move to restore his countrymen to the premier seat. In a sport where money, politics, and nationality often collide, this could be one of the most extraordinary power plays yet. A parent company shareholder dictating the fate of Red Bull's second driver. For Albon, the story would come full circle. He burst into Formula One with Toro Rosso in 2019 and was catapulted into Red Bull mid-season after Pierre Gasly was deemed not up to the task. Albon showed flashes of brilliance, but never found the consistency Horner demanded. By the end of 2020, he was ousted and replaced with Sergio Perez, his F1 dream seemingly over. Yet here we are, with the tantalizing prospect of a stunning Red Bull return on the horizon, this time powered not by Horner's gamble, but by the influence of a shareholder who sees both business value and national pride in Albon's redemption. After being cast aside by Red Bull, Alex Albon endured the crushing blow of sitting out the entire 2021 Formula One season, but fate gave him a lifeline when Williams came knocking the following year. From the moment he stepped into the Grove-based team, Albon established himself as the clear #1 driver, despite being surrounded by teammates who were more valuable for their sponsorship money than their pace. He carried the weight of Williams on his shoulders and turned the team from an afterthought into a midfield contender. Fast forward to 2025 season, and Albon has risen higher than anyone expected. He is the best placed driver outside the top 4 teams, holding 8th place in the standings, comfortably ahead of Red Bull's floundering Yuki Tsunoda, and only 10 points adrift of Mercedes' young sensation Kimi Antonelli. His resurgence hasn't gone unnoticed. With a strong relationship already in place with Red Bull's majority shareholder Chalem Yovidya, the whispers of a dramatic reunion are intensifying. Reports suggest Red Bull could be preparing an offer that would see their former driver return to the very team that once cast him aside. But here lies the dilemma. Albon is tied down to a long-term contract with Williams, and his release hinges on the fine print of a potential clause, one that might only allow an exit if a top 4 team comes calling. Even if that door opens, the paddock is divided. Many believe Albon's loyalty to James Vowles and the Williams revival is unshakable, that he will see the project through rather than gamble on a return to a team that once discarded him without hesitation. And yet, the Red Bull prospect holds undeniable appeal. Albon and Verstappen remain on good terms, a rarity in the cutthroat world of Formula One. A return could catapult Albon's status on the grid, giving him the machinery to fight at the front rather than just survive in the midfield. When asked in June about Red Bull's notoriously difficult car, Albon's response was telling. He remembered remembered all too well the unique handling traits of the beast he once tamed. Perhaps the true question is this: would Albon embrace the chance to prove he can master it again, or will loyalty to Williams keep him locked in the midfield battle? Speaking to the media, Alex Albon cut right to the heart of Red Bull's biggest headache, the cursed second seat. He suggested Yuki Tsunoda's struggles stem from the car's unnatural feel, a trait that has haunted nearly every driver who has tried and failed to tame it. But Albon, now armed with the scars and wisdom of 113 Formula One starts, believes he has evolved into a driver who could more than cope with the challenge. "Obviously, I can speak with experience," he said, reflecting on his own time at Red Bull, highlighted by the 2 podium finishes that remain his career's defining moments. "I think with the experience I have now, I'd be able to get around it," Albon admitted, "but it's not something that feels natural to most drivers, and that's what you're seeing now." The British Thai racer's words carry the weight of someone who has been there, seen the worst of it, and come out stronger. But the paddock isn't about to let Red Bull forget its long-running curse. Once again, the spotlight is shifting back to that second seat, a revolving door of broken confidence and unfulfilled potential. Sky F1's Ted Kravitz summed up the mood with a mischievous jab. "Somewhere in Guadalajara, Mexico, a man called Sergio is laughing his head off." His playful remark was a nod to Sergio Perez, whose record alongside Verstappen now looks far superior to those who followed him, and whose shadow still looms large over the Red Bull garage. So here we are once more, staring straight into the abyss of Formula One's most notorious curse, the Red Bull second seat. It's the sport's very own Egyptian tomb, swallowing careers whole and spitting out battered reputations. Max Verstappen remains untouchable in his fortress on one side of the garage, while on the other the seat spins so relentlessly it might as well be sponsored as a DRS zone. And now, as if the drama wasn't already dripping with intrigue, whispers suggest that a 49% shareholder is looming over Laurent Mekies, like a man waving a neon billboard that screams, "Sign Albon." If Alex Albon does find himself back at Milton Keynes, it wouldn't just be a comeback, it would be a collision of politics, pride, and performance. Rarely has Formula One seen a team's driver strategy tangled so tightly with a shareholder's national identity. Would it ignite a masterstroke of synergy, or unravel into yet another Red Bull implosion? Nobody knows, but you can bet the rest of the paddock will be perched on the pit wall with popcorn in hand, eager for the next twist. And then there's Yuki Tsunoda. The writing on the wall looks darker by the day, his fate perhaps to be sealed not by his engineers or his lap times, but by a man who may never have even sat through a single Red Bull technical debrief. That's the brutal irony of this sport. 200 miles an hour on the track, and a full-blown episode of Game of Thrones behind closed doors. Do you think Albon's loyalty to Williams will keep him grounded, or is a Red Bull return simply too tempting to turn down? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, goodbye for now.